Hello there people, this is Brucey Be Cool or Nintendo, and today I'm going to show you my Exodia deck on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Decade Duels. Now it isn't anything in a crazy one-turn kill like Magical Library or Manticore of Darkness with card a safe return, but this is just a solid Exodia deck which in my opinion is above average. You know, it's won a fair few games. And you've got the options for defense or just drawing like crazy if you really wanted to. So, as per usual, I'll go through the monsters, then the spells and traps, and in between go through the rules of an Exodia deck really, and what card combos you've got to consider. So, first things first, 4 pieces of Exodia there. We shall come to the head. You know, you can see it poking there in the distance. So, it goes without saying, you have to have all 5 pieces in the deck, otherwise, what the hell are you doing? So, first monster with a proper effect, Card Trooper. Now, you know, it is quite a decent effect that you draw a card if he's destroyed on the field, but you can use his milling effect to your advantage. So if you end up getting rid of 3 cards in your deck which are useless, then great, or if you do end up dumping some of the Exodia pieces, you can actually use certain cards to get it back, which I'll show you. So yeah, quite versatile there with Card Trooper. I'd run 2 Cyber Valleys. You could run 3 if you wanted to, but I think 2's enough. You know, bare minimum anyway. You know, you guys probably know by now, if someone attacks, this negates the battle phase altogether and you draw a card just by removing it. You can substitute this card and another card on the field, remove them from play to draw 2 cards if you've got your defense set up. Or if you only need 1 or 2 key cards from the graveyard back in your deck, then yep, sacrifice this and another card in your hand to, well, get it on top of the deck. Obviously remember, if you're going to use effects which shuffle the deck after using this, then that's kind of pointless, but you know, end of the day, depends on the situation. Obviously it goes without saying, don't remove anything like an Exodia piece, otherwise you're not going to get it back. You know, simple as really. Exodia Head, yep, again, goes without saying. Gravekeeper Spy, only 2 of them. End of the day, it's just there for defense, and if you draw one of them and you get it flipped or someone flips it for you, then that gets another monster out of the deck. You know, it's a bit more cover for you. Yeah, and that's the sort of point for it, to mill, and you can use it with Allure of Darkness. So worst case scenario, if you draw both of them, then use Allure of Darkness just to dump it into the graveyard basically. Can be used with Mystic Tomato if you really wanted to, but you know, not advisable. I use a Mask of Darkness, just the one. Some people think it's a bit useless, but in this sort of deck, where we're going to come across Reckless Greed, then this can help you draw a ton of cards just for the sacrifice of 2, you know, draw phases, and there are other trap cards in here as well. So again, not advisable for defense, but definitely in helping you rip through your own deck and getting the cards you need. And speaking of ripping through, I do play a Morphing Jar. It's up to you how you play it. In the starting hand, if you draw it, then great, you know, set what you want, like Reckless Greeds, Jar of Greeds, etc, etc, and then you draw 5 cards again, and then you can combo afterwards with the Reckless Greeds you've done. So it can be used for flushing out your hand, or even if you do get an Exodia piece to put into the graveyard, then something you draw a little later on might be Dark Eruption or the Cyber Valley. Yeah, many things you could do with this. If you're at the point where you got 4 cards in your hand, 4 of the Exodia pieces, and then you draw this, then either use this as discard fodder, or the substitution fodder for, again, Cyber Valley. Yeah, don't go obviously you don't want to discard your hand if you've got lots of Exodia pieces. 3 Mystic Tomatoes, goes without saying. A lot of Dark Searchers out there, you know, for Sangan, Spirit Reaper, if you really want some Exodia pieces as well. But yeah, it's there to, again, mill through your deck, have a little bit of defense, and search for Sangan primarily. Something you could do, if the chance is right, which is one of the plus sides with this deck, Sangan can be abused in this. End of the day, grab an Exodia piece from it going to the graveyard from the field, then you can use Monster Reborn, again, get rid of it with things like Torrential Tribute or get it attacked. Use Monster Reincarnation again, you know, fantastic. Use Pot of Avarice, get the Mystic Tomatoes and Sangan back in the deck. You get the picture. I mean, it is possible that to use Sangan's effect every single turn with the right circumstances. So yeah, definitely have him in any Exodia deck. Spirit Reaper, just there for defence really, you know, what can I say, it's defence. And Treeborn Frog, not bad as either discard fodder, or if it gets put in there from Morphing Jar from the graveyard, sorry, then yep, comes back onto the field. Yeah, it's mainly there for discard fodder, not for true defence, to be honest with you. But it's nice to have an extra monster out anyway. And that's it for monsters. As for spells, 2 Allures of Darkness. Obviously, don't use this with the Exodia pieces. And yeah, obviously just there for drawing power. Card Destruction, like Morphing Jar, use it if you feel the time is right, otherwise have it as discard fodder. Try and draw this as early as you can, if possible, because in the day, rip through your deck. Can mess up the opponent's hand if you've seen what they've been drawing as well. So yep, definitely a key card, I quite like it. 1 Dark Eruption, gets an Exodia piece back, or a Sangan. Yeah, very, very versatile. You could even go to 2 Dark Eruptions if you really fancied, but yeah, definitely run one of these. Gold Sarcophagus, so I primarily use this for getting Morphing Jar and Card Destruction as soon as possible, but if you only have 1 Exodia piece to find left and know you can handle 2 turns, then great, lovely little searcher. Magical Stone Excavation, not a true necessity, but if you want to pull out another Allure of Darkness and again you've got junk in your hand, then it can be very, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. Messenger of Peace, there for defence, plus you can still run your Mystic Tomatoes under it and Sangan if you really want. Monster Reborn, again, get Sangan with it if you really want a Spirit Reaper if you're on the run, but yeah, you get the point. Monster Reincarnation, get a Sangan or an Exodia piece back to your hand if it's in the graveyard. Pot of Avarice, so if things are really going up against the wall, or you're ripping through your deck and you know you've got some Exodia pieces there, then you know, set the Pot of Avarice, or if you just happen to draw it, then use it. I happen to use 2 because Sod's Law is if you have only 1 in there and it's one of the last cards you've got, you can't actually use it, which is ridiculous. Even if you've got 2 cards left in, even if you've got, let me start that again. So you put your 5 monster cards back into the deck, but for some odd reason it still doesn't class as you having 2 cards left in the deck, if it's your final card or your second from last card. So yeah, you get the picture. 2 of these instead of 1, just in case Sod's Law happens. Swords, defense really, but there you go. 3 Upstart Goblins, goes without saying. You don't care how many life points your opponent is getting. Yeah, you want to draw as much as possible, and that is the point with most Exodia decks. Jar of Greed now, so going into traps. I'll run 3 of them. Some people consider them useless, but I love them as a decoy, as well as, obviously, if you want to use card destruction and stuff, you just set these and then activate them afterwards. You know, brilliant little card. Same with Reckless Greed. Now, although it might be tempting to just use 1 of them if you're on a bit of a roll, you know, do wait until you at least draw a second, or even better if you draw all 3, or a Mask of Darkness as well. End of the day, in the right circumstance, you could draw 8 cards just for the sake of 2 draw phases. So yeah, try not to get too excited and just use this willy-nilly, otherwise you will pay. And Torrential Tribute, obviously destruction on the opponent's half, but helps you with things like getting rid of Sangan again, or even Card Trooper. And that is about it, really. So, very, very basic. I mean, I say basic in the form of it's a very primal Exodia deck. The fact that there's no real speciality to it, you know, no one card that you must rely on. The fact that it's just very versatile, you can still draw whatever the hell you're doing. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, going into it, extra deck. As I've said in most of my other videos as well, do have an extra deck, either to fool the opponent or just in case you get sent a tuner just by some rare occurrence. You know, better to be prepared than, well, just looking like a fool, really. Side deck, not really focused on, to be honest with you. I haven't had the need to use this yet. Prime material for Burns, MSC Giant Trinade and Heavy Storm if you're up against removal. And speaking of removal, you've got the Burial from a Different Dimension there, so 3 of them, just in case. Mirror Force, Gravity Bind for extra defense, Crush Card Virus, you know, for things like Spirit Reaper, Sangan, blah blah blah. If you felt really lucky, Accumulated Fortune, but that is circumstantial. Level Limit Area B for more defense, and Lightning Vortex just for kicks. And that is my Exodia deck. So, as always, if you guys like what you see, then give it a good old thumbs up, and by all means feel free to try this deck and experiment with it. Like I say, I love this. I don't think I'm going to really improve on this Exodia deck. I really can't be, you know, I won't say bothered to do Magical Library and all that sort of deck. I probably might do in the future, but this one at least has a very, very consistent level of winning. So, anyway, you guys take care, and I'll see you again soon. Enjoy.